Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out with the latest edition of FLEXpectations. We're here every Thursday, 4:30 p.m. Looking ahead to the boxing action of the weekend. And this weekend is a particularly busy one for boxing, with probably one of the biggest UK shows of this year taking place at the O2 on Saturday night, headlined by Dillian Whyte against Oscar Rivas. And over in Las Vegas, a really intriguing, a lot of people saying 50-50 fight between living legend, Filipino, 6 or 8 weight world champion, depending on your distinction, Manny Pacquiao, and unbeaten American WBA super welterweight champion, not super welterweight, but super welterweight, important distinction there, Keith Thurman. We'll just start off with that one because obviously we're close to the UK show. I want to spend a little bit more time talking about it. Manny Pacquiao is a legend, clearly lost the step, not the fighter he once was, but has looked somewhere closer to his best in his last 2 fights, dominating Lucas Matisse and Adrian Broner. Now he's stepping in with Thurman, who, while very athletic, fast, good fighter, thinking fighter, only came back from a 2-year layoff. He's been beset by injuries, came back in January, struggled more than was expected against a plucky Josecito Lopez, and now goes in against Pacquiao. There's been accusations that both of them have taken this fight because neither of them fancy facing the top 2 names in the division, Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford. There may be some truth in that, but what they have done is create a real 50-50 fight, pitting the youth, athleticism and power size of Keith Thurman against the greater speed, footwork, tenacity, experience of Manny Pacquiao. Really, really tough fight to call, kind of just edging towards Thurman, pounding out a points decision over the 12-round distance. But it'll be a really watchable fight, I'm sure. Whereas over here in the UK, we've got a show that is greater than the sum of its parts. You've got 5 big fights, and I'd say they could all be called with varying degrees of realism, 50-50 fights. At the top of the bill, Dillian Whyte, experienced fighter, getting better with every fight, on the cusp of a world title shot. The winner of his fight with Rivas gets the WBC interim title and mandatory position to fight Deontay Wilder after the rematch with Tyson Fury has taken place. Up against Oscar Rivas, who is a come-forward fighter, very good amateur, short, stocky, muscular guy, good footwork, can be a little one-paced, but got good hand speed. Different type of challenge than one Whyte has faced recently. He's coming in quite heavy for this fight, I've been told. Little tip there for you. Maybe not quite a stone, maybe around 8 to 10 pounds heavier than his previous fight. So you could expect him to really try and impose his greater strength and size on Rivas. I think it'll be a grueling fight, particularly down the stretch. I think Whyte can just about eke it out, but it'll be a hard one for him. And the winner of this will well deserve their mandatory position with the WBC. Also on the show, 2 other big heavyweight fights. One of the most intriguing for me is Dave Allen against David Price. Absolutely anything could happen in this one. David Price, massive puncher, but assures me he's in condition to go 12 hard rounds. Dave Allen, durable type, but getting hit by a right hand from Price can knock anyone out and unconscious. Allen said in a press conference today, it's the only way David Price can win is to actually knock him unconscious. Price probably relishes the chance to do just that. But I could see a case for either of them winning on points, either of them winning by stoppage. It's a great fight. Not a world-level fight, certainly, but it has world-level implications for the winner. Derek Chisora goes up against a tricky southpaw in Artur Szpilka. Chisora doesn't like southpaws, never been great against them in fights or in sparring. Szpilka's a particularly awkward southpaw, and also a good fighter, still retains some ambition. Probably not the fighter he was at his peak. He's had some hard ones. But this is going to be a really interesting one too. Chisora, not known if he loves travelling up to Rotherham to train with Dave Coldwell on a regular basis. What I mean is, I'm sure he loves training with Coldwell, but I don't know if he loves all the travel. He's obviously based down south in London. And has he got the requisite, not just the ambition, but has he got the legs at this stage of his career, and has he got the nous to deal with a southpaw, to be a thinking fighter, to adapt on the fly? How much ambition Szpilka got, we'll find out on the night, so that's another one. And then 2 fights lower down the bill that I'm looking forward to. Richard Riakporhe against Chris Billam-Smith. Both unbeaten cruiserweights. They've actually got identical records. Riakporhe may have a slight edge in power, and he's certainly the bigger man, taller, rangier. Chris Billam-Smith was the better amateur, technically skilled, has benefited from loads of sparring with the likes of George Groves and more recently Lawrence Okoli, Riakporhe's big rival. So that's a real tough one to call. And then Charlie Duffield and Dan Aziz go to war for the Southern Area title. And it probably will be a war. Aziz maybe has greater variety, But Duffield's been improved greatly working with Mark Tibbs and in that Dillian Whyte camp, and he's always guarantees excitement, so I'm really looking forward to that. So 5 really, really good fights. People who are saying maybe it's not pay-per-view, I think that's crazy. I think when you got 5 50-50 fights, at least one of them's a high world level fight, which Whyte Rivas is. 2 top 10 world rated heavyweights. Winner gets to be the mandatory for Deontay Wilder. You can't complain too much. Well, you can, I'm sure you all will, but not all of you, but a lot of you will. I'm not complaining. I think it's well worth pay-per-view. I'm looking forward to that, as I am Pacquiao Thurman. So now we need to hear from you. Which is the fight you're most looking forward to at the weekend? What are your predictions for all the big fights? So 6 in total, 5 here, and the Pacquiao Thurman. I know Pacquiao Thurman's got a decent undercard as well, but we just haven't got time to go into all the permutations of that. So yeah, 6 big fights. Let me know your predictions. Which one you're most looking forward to? And yeah, who's going to deliver the performance of the weekend as well? I'll be back next week with FLEXpectations, 4:30 p.m. Thursday, and we'll be reflecting, ideally, on Pacquiao Thurman and the big show at the O2 on Monday in Reflections, also 4:30 p.m. I'll see you then. Thanks very much for your time.